Picture this. You're 5 years old, standing in the kitchen. Chocolate smeared across your face. Your mother asks, "Did you eat the cookies I was saving for tonight?" And in that moment, that split second, your developing brain makes a calculation that would impress any supercomputer. You weigh the evidence, assess the consequences, and deliver your verdict. No, mommy, it wasn't me. This is where it begins. Not with malice, not with evil intent, but with something far more fascinating: the birth of your ability to create alternate realities with nothing but words. Here's what nobody tells you. The average person lies between 1 to 2 times per day. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is that by the time you finish watching this video, you'll realize you've been lying to yourself about lying itself. Most people think lying is a moral failure, a weakness, a flaw in human character. They're wrong. Lying is perhaps humanity's most sophisticated achievement. Think about what a lie requires. You need to understand that other people have minds, that those minds contain beliefs, that those beliefs can be different from reality, and that you, through mere words, can manipulate those beliefs. Chimpanzees can't do this. Dogs can't do this. Even human children under the age of 4 struggle with it. When researchers studied children's brains as they learned to lie, they discovered something remarkable. The same neural networks that light up during lying also control our most advanced abilities: planning for the future, solving complex problems, and even creating art. Consider Leonardo da Vinci. He told people he could build flying machines and underwater breathing apparatus, technologies that wouldn't exist for centuries. Was he lying? Or was he doing something more profound, using deception as a bridge between what is and what could be? The weak mind sees lying as simply not telling the truth. The strong mind understands that lying is reality, manipulation, and every human innovation began with someone claiming something that wasn't yet true. The 3 faces of deception. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all lies are created equal. Psychologists have identified 3 distinct categories, and understanding them changes everything. The white lie. The social lubricant. Your haircut looks great. I love the gift. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible. These aren't really lies, they're social contracts. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that without white lies, human societies literally could not function. Imagine if everyone said exactly what they thought, every moment of every day. Civilization would collapse within hours. The ordinary person feels guilty about white lies. The extraordinary person understands they're performing emotional labor, protecting others from unnecessary harm. The gray lie. The self-preservation instinct. This is where things get complex. Gray lies protect us, but at potential cost to others. Think about Frederick Douglass, the escaped slave who lied about his identity to gain freedom. Or consider the Dutch citizens who lied to Nazi officers about hiding Jewish families. Were these lies wrong? The weak mind thinks in absolutes lying is always bad. The strong mind understands context. Sometimes, lying isn't just acceptable, it's heroic. The black lie, the destructive force. Then there's the lie that everyone thinks of first, the malicious deception, the Ponzi scheme, the cheating spouse, the corrupt politician. But even here, psychology reveals something unexpected. People who tell black lies aren't usually evil masterminds. They're often deeply insecure individuals, so terrified of their true selves that they'd rather destroy everything than face reality. Bernie Madoff didn't start with a plan to steal billions. He started with one small lie to cover a loss, then another to cover that lie, then another, until the lies became a prison he couldn't escape. The mirror's edge, why we lie to ourselves. But here's the plot twist nobody sees coming. The person you lie to most isn't your boss, your partner, or your parents. It's yourself. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for proving that self-deception isn't a bug in human psychology, it's a feature. Our brains literally evolved to lie to us. Think about the last time you failed at something important. Did you tell yourself, "I didn't want it anyway"? Or, "The system was rigged"? Or, "I'll definitely do better next time," without changing anything? These aren't character flaws. They're survival mechanisms. Studies show that depressed people actually see reality more accurately than healthy individuals. They call it depressive realism. The happy people? They're living in a carefully constructed delusion where they're slightly more attractive, intelligent, and capable than they actually are. Søren Kierkegaard put it perfectly: life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. We lie to ourselves about the future because otherwise, we'd never have the courage to face it. The technology of truth. Now here's where things get genuinely terrifying or exciting, depending on your perspective. We're entering an age where lying might become impossible. AI can now detect lies with 90% accuracy just by analyzing microexpressions. Brain scanners can literally see deception forming in your neural pathways before you speak. Social media creates permanent records of every contradiction. The ordinary person fears this future, a world without privacy, without white lies, without the comfortable deceptions that smooth social interaction. But the extraordinary person sees opportunity. Because when external lies become impossible, we're forced to confront the deepest question: who are we when we can't pretend to be someone else? Friedrich Nietzsche predicted this moment 150 years ago. The strength of a person's spirit would then be measured by how much truth he could tolerate. The paradox of honest deception. So where does this leave us? Here's the framework that changes everything. The goal isn't to never lie. The goal is to be intentional about your relationship with truth. Level 1. Unconscious deception. Most people operate here. They lie reflexively, without awareness, driven by fear and insecurity. Level 2. Conscious deception. Some evolve to this point. They know when they're lying and why. They feel the weight of each deception. Level 3. Transcendent honesty. The few reach here. They understand that sometimes the greatest truth requires temporary deception. Like Picasso said, art is a lie that makes us realize truth. The mother who tells her terminally ill child that everything will be okay isn't lying, she's choosing hope over despair. The entrepreneur who says their startup will change the world isn't lying, they're willing a possibility into existence. So I'll leave you with this thought experiment. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, and everyone can read your thoughts. Every lie you've ever told is visible, every deception exposed, every secret revealed. Most people think this would be their worst nightmare. But what if it's actually your greatest opportunity? Because here's the ultimate truth about lying. We don't lie because we're bad people. We lie because we're afraid that our true selves aren't enough. But what if they are? What if the person you're pretending to be is actually preventing you from becoming the person you could be? The ancient Greeks had a phrase, know thyself, but they never said, show thyself, because they understood that the gap between knowing and showing, that's where human creativity lives. That's where growth happens. That's where we transform from what we are into what we might become. So, here's my challenge. In the comments below, share one truth about yourself that you usually hide. Not a dark secret, not a confession. Just one small, authentic piece of who you really are that you typically keep concealed. Watch what happens when truth meets acceptance, when authenticity meets community, when the person you are meets the person you're becoming. Because in the end, the question isn't, why do humans lie? The question is, what truth are you ready to tell? And that answer, that's where your real story begins.